Celebrity chef and lifestyle mogul Joanna Gaines is taking aim at Blake Lively's reputation in a major way. She just dropped a video with proof of Blake allegedly harassing her. What's really going on between Blake Lively and Joanna Gaines? You won't believe what's been caught on camera, and trust me, things are about to get messy. Blake and Joanna got wrapped up in some unexpected drama that's left a lot of people shocked. Most didn't even know the two A-listers were acquainted, but we only found out after all the chaos involving Caitlyn, who is staying at Joanna's hotel in Waco, Texas, Hotel 1928. Now, for some context, Blake was in town for South by Southwest, but instead of staying close to the event, she checked into this hotel about an hour and a half away. Kind of weird, right? Well, it turns out she might have been meeting up with Joanna for some business stuff. Meanwhile, Caitlyn, who I've talked about before, was just there for a weekend getaway with no ties to South by Southwest. She's a huge fan of Chip and Joanna, and staying at the hotel was a bucket list item for her. She wasn't even trying to create content or anything, just a fan enjoying her trip. But then, bam, Caitlyn discovers that Blake Lively is staying at the same hotel. And y'all, Blake was acting super loud, walking through the lobby like she owned the place. So Caitlyn, being the fan she is, starts filming for a quick glimpse of her favorite celeb. Then things took a bizarre turn. Blake noticed Caitlyn filming, and suddenly, she started circling Caitlyn's car, filming her license plate. Creepy, right? Caitlyn was so thrown off that she shared the entire strange experience on her social media. The story blew up, and soon people began showing up in her stories. Blake's hotel manager, her social media team, and even her nanny. It was like Blake had sent her entire squad after Caitlyn. But that's not even the weirdest part. People started trolling Caitlyn online, calling her fat, and leaving unsettling comments. Fast forward, and now gossip is swirling that Blake and Joanna Gaines are in a full-blown feud over a hotel security fiasco. Apparently, Blake is upset because the hotel didn't treat her like a VIP. She's being called out for being loud and dramatic. One person even said she acted like she was at Buckingham Palace, not a hotel. Not a good look for Blake, especially since she had no problem filming Caitlyn herself. Some people are even speculating that Blake is trying to control the narrative, and after all this, you have to wonder, how long can she keep dodging the heat? The drama seems to be following her like a shadow. Now let's dive into the whole thing with Joanna. What started as mutual admiration between Blake and Joanna has reportedly turned into a full-blown feud. These two used to sing each other's praises, but things took a dramatic turn after a messy incident at Joanna's luxury hotel. Blake's been a fan of Joanna's home design empire for years. Back in 2016, she even admitted to exchanging texts and creative ideas with the fixer-upper queen. They were even spotted hanging out in NYC last fall, making fans wonder if a collaboration was in the works. But that seems pretty unlikely now. Things went downhill when Blake checked into Hotel 1928 while promoting her new film Another Simple Favor. We all know Blake values her privacy, but apparently the hotel staff didn't get the memo. Tensions flared when Caitlyn spotted Blake in the lobby, and according to reports, Blake acted entitled, complaining that there was no red carpet or closed-off floor for her. She walked through the lobby like everyone else, and if she wanted privacy, she didn't seem to act like it. Joanna and her crew are reportedly not happy with Blake's diva behavior, and insiders say Joanna isn't rushing to patch things up anytime soon. With tensions high and Blake dealing with her own personal and legal battles, it's safe to say their friendship is on ice. Will they ever make up, or is this just the start of Hollywood's latest messy fallout? We'll have to wait and see. Speaking of fallout, Blake's been going through one right now, and it's not even because of the hotel. Blake has been all over the internet lately, but this time, it's because of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit she's found herself caught up in after deciding to take legal action against her former co-star Justin. Let's just say her reputation is tanking fast. One of the first things making the rounds recently is her being dragged by Kirsty Flaw, a lady who was just doing her job, while Blake tried to make her life miserable for no reason. Kirsty's been holding onto receipts since 2016, and now that the internet is finally catching on to Blake's behavior, she felt safe enough to spill the tea. Let's rewind to 2016. Kirsty was interviewing Blake during a press junket when she casually congratulated her, saying, "Congratulations on your bump." Simple enough, right? Well, Blake immediately snapped back with, "Congratulations on your bump," essentially accusing Kirsty of being pregnant when she wasn't. Why? Kirsty later revealed that the moment Blake humiliated her was so bad, it made her seriously consider quitting journalism. When she finally posted the clip in August, instead of taking responsibility, Blake accused her of working for Justin Baldoni. Yikes, right? But that's not even the worst of it. Kirsty had interviewed Blake twice, and let's just say, the vibes were far from America's sweetheart. In one interview, Blake allegedly made Kirsty's boyfriend, who's also a journalist, chug gin at 9 a.m., and that's not all. Blake's been caught on camera asking male reporters to take their shirts off. Talk about double standards. Now that Kirsty's video is going viral, more people who've worked with Blake are coming forward. Interns, makeup artists, hairstylists, assistant directors, everyone's saying the same thing. Blake wasn't just having a bad day. She has a pattern of being dismissive, rude, and making people uncomfortable. You might be wondering why people didn't speak up sooner about Blake Lively's behavior. Well, here's where things get complicated. Many were afraid to come forward before, especially with Blake and her powerful husband, Ryan Reynolds, pulling strings in Hollywood. If you've worked in the industry, you know that speaking out against them could end your career in an instant. But now that people are starting to share their stories, Blake is out here playing the victim, acting as though all this backlash is just because she spoke out against harassment. But let's be real, many aren't buying it, and neither are we. Over the weekend, Kirsty, a journalist who had a run-in with Blake, spoke out in an interview with Daily Mail, exposing Blake's mean girl antics. The headline? "My encounter from hell with Blake Lively." And apparently, Kirsty isn't the only one with a horror story. Over 20 people have now come forward, all sharing similar tales of Blake's shady behavior, and it's starting to look like a consistent pattern. A lot of this might trace back to Blake's mom, who was known for being demanding and entitled on set. Blake grew up witnessing this, and it seems she may have learned from the best. According to a crisis PR expert, Blake's behavior stems from a deep sense of entitlement. She expects everyone to treat her like royalty, and if you're not at her level, well, you're simply not worth her time. What's particularly telling is how Blake responds to criticism. Instead of owning up to her actions, she deflects and accuses others of being out to get her. It's almost like she can't handle the fact that not everyone adores her as much as she adores herself. And when you consider all the PR stunts she's pulled, from making donuts for fans in Connecticut right after a major article dropped, it all starts to feel a little desperate. The real issue here is that Blake's behavior is overshadowing her actual allegations against Justin Baldoni. Speaking out about harassment is important, yes, but it's hard to take her seriously when she's making everything about herself. Rather than simply apologizing for her behavior, something like, "I'm sorry for making Kirsty feel bad," or "I apologize for falsely accusing Justin," she keeps doubling down, playing the victim, and turning it into a personal attack. What's frustrating for a lot of people is that many of the complaints against Blake have nothing to do with harassment. People are calling out her overall behavior based on how she's treated them in interviews or on set, yet she continues to spin everything into a narrative about harassment. It's becoming clearer that the power imbalance here is huge. Blake and Ryan's influence in Hollywood means people are hesitant to speak out, but the victims are the ones left to defend themselves. This has become a bigger conversation about why justice is so difficult to achieve when it comes to cases like this. Often, it's a he said, she said situation, leaving the victims criticized, discredited, or outright blamed. And here's where things get a little trickier. Blake's handling of her situation with the intimacy coordinator on Asterisk. It ends with Eos Asterisk is being questioned. Allegedly, Justin had to go over notes about a particular scene with Blake in private, which some feel was inappropriate. Many think having a producer or another woman present as a buffer could have prevented a lot of the tension that later arose.